Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight on Positions on Sports Talk Show. This is our special post power play fantasy football show. We welcome you tonight, and of course, we bringing that straight flavor like we always do on Tuesday nights. I'm Professor Jay, and tonight I'm joined by my brother J3. J3, holla at the people today.
What's up, people? How y'all doing? Welcome back.
Excellent, excellent. So, of course, you can visit us on our Positions on Sports Talk Show YouTube channel, as well as visit us on our Facebook page, and also now featured on Twitch. And coming soon to a podcast near you, we will have that ready for you as well. So, stay tuned. So, of course, tonight we are going to treat you to all the news in fantasy land. That includes the injuries, that includes who you should be starting, who you should sit. Also, we're going to give you the honors of the week. Those are your top dogs, your sleepers, your quick hitters, your quiet storm, and your closers. And then we'll get you ready for tonight's game with our picks, a little bit of commentary, and then we're going to get off to enjoy it just like you guys. So we know many of the leagues are getting ready for playoffs, and that's important. Some of us won't make it this year, and I'm sad to say it'll be me, but it's all good because I'm a former league champion. So sometimes you got to pass the torch off to other people. So J3, how you doing so far?
5-8, man. I'm down at the bottom of the pack, but you know what? It was a learning experience, and I enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to doing it next year.
That's right. That's right. It's always fun. And I'm telling you, when you get the taste and you make it to the playoffs or you actually win one of these things, it just feels even more incredible. So just to be honest with you, this is the lowest I've ever been. And I think I've been playing fantasy for like almost 10 years now. So hey, I took my lumps this year, but it's all good. It wasn't because we didn't have good advice to give people, it's just that many of these players that we name on here, I don't have.
Trying to
So it's
tell you.
all good. It's always how the draft goes sometimes, man. All right, so we're gonna kick everything off with the injury report, and J3 is gonna take that for now. Boom.
So first off, we got Atlanta Falcons. We got Julio Jones, who has a hamstring. He will not practice on Thursday. For fantasy impact, Jones won't practice on Thursday due to a hamstring. The Falcons reportedly are being cautious with their wide receiver holding him out on practice for the second consecutive day. Julio's practice level and Friday's practice will determine if his status for Week 14 contest against the Chargers. Next up, we got Willie Snead for the Baltimore Ravens. He's activated from reserve, even though he was on the COVID-19 list. Snead missed the last two games while on the reserve list. His return should only help a struggling Baltimore passing offense. The good news is their rushing attack came back to life against Dallas on Tuesday night.
Hey
Next,
J3, just a
yeah.
quick commentary. You know how quarterbacks are together in the quarterback room, which got Denver. I'm wondering if the receivers, because if Snead was already on that list, did he possibly could he have been the one to pass it to Dez Bryant? And then we don't know if any other receivers are going to pop up in the next few days with COVID tests.
Unfortunately, with this virus, I mean, you really don't know who has it, and it's
Mhm.
been shown time and time again that these tests that they're taking are not really active. So I mean, actual. So it could be positive today, negative tomorrow, positive the next day, and then negative and negative or positive and positive. So we really don't know, but.
Right.
Hopefully, these players are taking precautions so they can keep themselves at a distance bay so they won't have to be exposed to it. But we don't
Right.
know. I mean, especially if you're playing the game.
Right. Amen.
So next off, we got the Washington Football Club. Antonio Gibson has a turf toe. He didn't practice today. His impact on Week 14 is unlikely against the 49ers. Peyton Barber and J.D. McKissick are reportedly splitting reps in Thursday's practice. McKissick is preferred fantasy option,
Mhm.
particularly in PPR formats.
Mhm.
Next, we got Tyreek Hill for the Kansas City Chiefs. He did return to practice today. Um, Hill missed Wednesday's practice due to COVID-19 illness. He was back on the field on Thursday's session. Hill is expected to be all systems go on Sunday's game against the Dolphins. The 26-year-old is a surefire wide receiver and currently second among all wideouts in the latest expert consensus rating for Week 14.
Absolutely.
Next, we got Kyle Rudolph for the Minnesota Vikings. He won't practice today. Even though they won Week 12 against the Jaguars, he has been unable to practice this week, and his status for Sunday's game against the Bucs is in jeopardy. The 31-year-old tight end will look to participate in Friday's session. If Rudolph is ruled out, expert Irv Smith Jr. will handle the tight end duties for the Minnesota Vikings. Next up, we got Irv Smith Jr. practicing Thursday for the Vikings. He did return to practice, so he should be able to play. We'll see what happens. Next up, for the New York Giants, Daniel Jones.
G-Man.
Jones missed Week 13 against the Seahawks, but is trending in the right direction towards suiting up for Sunday's game against the Seahawks, so we'll see what happens. Next up, Frank Gore for the who does he play for? The Jets. That's right. He didn't practice today.
What a shame.
His status for Week 14 is still unknown, and we'll see what happens. So if you have him, you might want to put him on the bench because we're not sure if he's actually going to play. Next up for the Denver Broncos, Jerry Jeudy. He was in full participation today in practice, so if you have him, you might want to start him. Next up, Christian McCaffrey for the North Carolina Panthers. He did. Wait a minute. Oh, I'm sorry. He didn't practice today. So for him showing up on this Sunday is still questionable. So if you have him, you might want to bench him because he might not get in if he didn't practice today. Next up, we got Ezekiel Elliott, who was a limited practice yesterday. We're not sure if he's going to play on Sunday. So if you have him, I don't know about Zeke. You know, if he's on the field, he's going to want to play. But if you're looking at his stats for the last couple of days, I wouldn't do it. But we'll see what happens. Next up, Josh Kelly for the Chargers. He was sidelined for practice on Wednesday. We're not sure if he's going to show up on Sunday. So if you got Josh Kelly, you might want to sit him down. Next up, Todd Gurley was limited on practice yesterday. Of course, Gurley is a fighter, so we're expected for him to play on Sunday against the Chargers, so stay tuned. Next up, Cam Newton. He was questionable for practice. He is going to play today. I just got notification on ESPN, so look for him to be on the field today. Josh Jacobs for the Las Vegas Raiders. He didn't practice yesterday, but expected to play on Sunday, so we'll see what happens. Deebo Samuels missed practice on Wednesday for the 49ers. I'm not sure if he's going to play on tape practice, but he may play on Sunday against the Washington Football Club. So stay tuned on that. AJ Bayou suspended for 6 games for PEDs, so he ain't going to be on the field.
Not at all.
DeAndre Swift. For the Detroit Lions is expected to practice yesterday, so he may be on the field on Sunday, so stay tuned. Larry Fitzgerald, he was activated off of the reserve COVID-19 list. He is expected to play against the Giants, so we'll see what happens. Joe Mixon will not play on Week 14 against Dallas. He still has a foot injury, so if you got him, you might want to sideline him. Salvon Ahmad missed practice against practice for the Miami Dolphins. Not sure if he's going to come back for Week 14, so if you have him, you might want to sideline him. Phillip Rivers missed practice yesterday because of his toe. Not sure if he's going to show up for the game on Sunday. So if you got him against the Raiders, something to consider. Back to you, Professor J.
Yeah, he'll be there. He one of them old KG quarterbacks where, even with some bumps and bruises, he going to be out there. Remember, Drew Brees was going to play with some punctured ribs and lungs, broken ribs and lungs and stuff.
Phillip Rivers is not that mobile, so I don't know if that's going to hurt them or help them.
Yeah, But well, Jacoby Brissett is a manageable quarterback. He can come in
True.
there and win you a game. I mean, he's
True.
proven that, which kind of shocked me, right? That they actually went and got Phillip Rivers, because I felt that Brissett had enough in the toolbox, and in relief of Andrew Luck, he didn't look bad, man. He actually won them some games that they actually shouldn't have won because of his mobility and his ability to get out the pocket and make some throws. I mean, if you think about it, T.Y. Hilton probably prefers him over Rivers, because he was always hitting T.Y. T.Y. just got his first touchdown, I think, this past weekend. So what does that tell you?
And that's why I got rid of TJ, because he wasn't doing nothing for my fantasy team but taking up space. My goodness gracious.
Oh man, I'm trying to tell you, he sure wasn't. But back up real quick. We're gonna go back to Mr. Daniel Jones. My question to you is, do they really need him to come back so soon? Because Colt McCoy actually looked good.
So here's the thing, and I'm gonna say this again. Colt McCoy is not a bad quarterback. He just needed an offensive line that allowed him to make decisions, right decisions, and he needed plays that worked in his wheel set. And it was proven this past Sunday that you give him the right calls, you give him a few seconds to produce, and he can move the ball. And that's exactly what he did.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I would actually keep Daniel Jones on the bench and let Colt McCoy play another week. I certainly
agree.
would. Especially what he just came off of with beating the Seahawks. I mean, if anything, that's a reward for him. You know what I'm saying? Christian McCaffrey, I'm hearing so many conflicting reports about him. They saying that holding him out last week when he was really ready to go was precautionary to get him ready for this week. So I'm thinking and feeling that he might suit up and play. Not sure how effective he's going to be, but if he plays, he only plays one way, and that's all out. So We'll see how that turns out. Todd Gurley, I would actually set him. He didn't look great this past weekend. I'm not even sure why he played in real life, but in fantasy, I wouldn't even put him out there. I just wouldn't. That's a big chance. Debo actually, I feel, is going to play. Remember, his production went down last week because Brandon Ayuk was back in uniform, and he actually looked pretty good. So remember, they still got that 1-2 punch now. So now that Ayuk is back, and he's a burner. So whereas you can use Debo to do a lot of reverses and play action passes and things that way, he'll do the dirty work. Kind of, this is a good comp. He reminds me of Pierre Garçon, where he ain't afraid of nothing. He likes contact. He gonna catch the ball, and if you don't tackle him, he gonna get physical, and he gonna be off to the races. So I'm thinking, he's a little hampered by the hamstring, but he's a gamer, and he's gonna play.
Well, real quick before you move on, you mentioned Todd Gurley. Keep in mind they're only playing the Chargers, so if he does get time, he should be effective because the Chargers' defense is not all that good.
That's true. Their defense isn't all that good, but I'm thinking that maybe you can save him. I'm just more concerned because he is coming off of that knee. That's part of the reason why the Rams parted ways with him, and because knee is listed again for the second week in a row, or maybe the third week in a row, I'm just concerned about his future moving forward. Atlanta is making a good showing down the stretch, which to me, Raheem should get that full-time job, but really, they need to look towards next year to really make some noise in that division because they're not going to make the playoffs from that division anyway. Just not going to happen.
Nope.
Cool. All right. So, yeah, I put AJ Boye on here because some leagues, just like ours, actually do individual defensive backs and things of that nature. And I thought it was real telling that he got popped for PEDs this late in the season. I mean, I think this late in the season, somebody done leaked on him to target him in this particular area. And I think it's more or less players are really concerned not just with COVID, but their longevity in whatever uniform they're playing. And if I'm correct, he was a star for Jacksonville, right? Before he went out to Denver, right?
Who's
on
that?
the other side of what's the other boy, the corner from Jacksonville that they sent out of there? God, why is his name skipping my mind? The All Pro.
I can't answer that. I don't know off the top of my head.
It'll come back to me later. I think they sent him out to the Rams. I don't know why. Well, anyway, the point is that we got him on there for some people who are wondering is because some leagues like ours actually do defensive players as well.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
on to the honors. All right. So this week, I mean, he back on there. Aaron Rodgers, quarterback, and they playing the Lions. I mean, what do you expect? He will show once again that he is just that bad man.
Hmm.
The Lions are about to feel the wrath again as a division game. It will be a one-sided affair. This is points, points, points. So if you have Aaron Rodgers, you'd be foolish not to start him. Russell Wilson, quarterback, Seahawks, and they're playing the Jets. Russ has to get it right this week, right?
Oh my goodness.
He has to. I mean, if he has a poor performance against the Jets, J3, I gotta say they might be an early round playoff exit, man. Because if you can't string it up against the Jets, I know they look good to decent, decent to good against the Raiders, right? But we all know that the Raiders are due for those types of letdown games. It's what they do. But I
Hmm.
do not think that the Seahawks will take the Jets lightly. I think they're gonna go in there and they're gonna tear it up like they supposed to. And don't forget, this is a revenge game. This is a revenge game for Mr. Adams. All right. So you know he in that locker room probably right now at this hour telling them we're not dropping this game. And as a matter of fact, I want to punish these dudes. So look out. I think the defense gonna set the tone, and I think Russ and DK gonna be able to cook together this weekend. What
I
you
hope
think?
so. I hope so, because I'm telling you now, Russell took way too many sacks on Sunday. I'm looking
Yeah,
at the game like, dude, what are you doing? You guys,
yeah,
you see 7 or 8 people on the line. You know they're getting ready to blitz. You're not gonna audible? You're not gonna
right,
throw the ball away? You just gonna take
right.
a sack? Really?
I think Russ need to tap more into his ability to scramble. I think once they get in that mode where I'm a pocket passer when nobody's saying nothing bad about me, he get into that mentality that he a Super Bowl champion. I don't want to be compared to Kyler Murray and Deshaun Watson and all them because people think they run first. He always want to show that arm off, but I think he need to go back to his natural ability and get his butt out of trouble. If you know
Right.
Watch Jalen Hurts this weekend. If you know your offensive line is terrible, why would you stand back there and get punished? Just think
Doesn't
about it.
make any sense. Makes no
Just think
sense at
about it,
all.
bro. We just try and talk to you. All right,
Uh,
Nick Chubb, running back,
beast mode.
Browns versus the Ravens. So he's battling more than just the Ravens this week. He's battling Derrick Henry. He wants the crown again this year, and he has to prove it in this game for the Ravens because they will seek to wrangle him. But he wants to make sure he gets that crown, that Russian title this year. So if you have Chubb, I think he's gonna grub this weekend, and he's gonna spank that Ravens D for 20 plus points this week. So if you have him, you certainly better use him because that boy gets stronger. Go ahead.
If the Cleveland Browns not only uses Chubb, but Kareem Hunt as
Go
well,
ahead.
that will wear their defense down. And that will benefit the Cleveland Browns because then it will allow Baker Mayfield to throw the ball if he needs to. But if the Cleveland Browns use both of their running backs the whole game, oh, the Ravens in trouble.
That's right. And no, we're not forgetting about Lamar Jackson, but remember, Lamar Jackson plays offense. We talking about this decimated Baltimore defense that's going to have to handle two dynamic running backs, one who wants that Russian crown, and he's a bruising running back. And then you also got to look at the fact that Baker does have weapons at wide receiver, Landry being one of them. Don't think just because OBJ is not there that they don't have some solid weapons on that outside, because if you've been watching the Cleveland Browns, see, many people haven't been watching them because they've been terrible in the past. But if you've been watching any of their games, if you get decent to good play out of Baker Mayfield, this a tough team to beat. Make no mistakes about it, because their defense is straight. When Myles Garrett got back in that lineup, they went right back to kicking butt like they was before he got hurt. So yeah, you got where this game right here is for second place in this division and probably for that playoff spot. So you definitely got to watch this one. Those of you out there who got red zone, you better have it on because this was going to be good if it's not in your local market. All right, so now let's go for the sleepers for this week. We got Jalen Hurts. Yes, I said it. QB Eagles versus the Saints. In his first official start, he will shock the Saints defense for a couple of TDs and a nice day rushing the ball. Eagles could pull a shocker in this one as the Saints could be caught on cruise control. Because remember, they're 2 games ahead of the Seahawks for the number 1 spot in the NFC. And they could be sleeping this week trying to rest some people and kind of just coast through this game because it's the Eagles. And this is the perfect spot for Jalen to rack up some points this week because he'll be able to catch them sleeping in some instances because they may not, believe that he has an NFL type arm. And I've heard that chirping all week from other pundits talking about this Jalen Hurts having NFL type arm. And I'm like, did y'all see that pass he threw for a touchdown last week? Like, I'm just wondering what people watching because the boys showed at Oklahoma, post Alabama, that he can throw that ball because Oklahoma has more of a pro style passing offense, right?
Right.
So
right.
I'm like, what were you guys watching? Are we the only ones that watch college football and watch people's careers? Because this boy can throw an NFL pass. He does have that type of arm. So stay tuned on this one because I think this one's going to be a real good game. All right. Next one, sleepers. Logan Thomas. Watch what I do here. Logan Thomas versus Jordan Reed. Tight ends, Washington football in San Francisco. This will be a continued coming out party for one of them, meaning Logan Thomas, and a revenge game for the other, meaning Jordan Reed. So I believe they both play well for 15 plus points in this game. So the reason why I do this because Nick Mullins San Francisco loves throwing to the tight end. Yeah, George isn't in there, but they do spread the ball around to the tight end. Jordan Reed was getting some love last week, and so was the other tight end that they had. So they will stick to throwing to the tight end. And because Jordan Reed wants to prove that Washington gave up on his career too early.
Which they should have.
Right, I agree. But he's going to have something to prove and show that he still has it. And then Logan Thomas, man, if he plays just a third of what he did this past weekend, man, this is going to be a real good matchup watching him go against the DBs for San Francisco, who can be got. Because I know people talk about Richard Sherman was back, but if you watch Richard Sherman's play, he plays deep off the ball now because he does not want to get beat deep anymore. He does not have that closing speed, which think about this now. They would be better transferring him to safety. Kind of like they did Rob Woodson late in his career, and Woodson had a Pro Bowl ending of his career as a safety because Richard is smart. He knows where to go, the spots on the field and stuff like that. But stop having him do every down duty as your corner. He's not the shutdown dude anymore, but you can use his brains and his ability better at the safety position. I hope somebody.
If I was a quarterback and I saw Richard Sherman on my man, I make him do a slant every play because that's all it would take.
Exactly. And he better not be out there on McLaurin. I mean, that's lunch all day long for Alex and McLaurin if he out there on McLaurin. He better check somebody bigger like Cam Sims or something. But if he on McLaurin, it's over.
Hopefully they listening.
Yeah, and I'm starting McLaurin, so I'm hoping that he checking McLaurin so he can eat him up all day. All right, sleeper, Cam Newton, quarterback, Patriots versus the Rams. With Goff struggling and Cam seeming to be returning to form earlier in the season pre-COVID, he can take advantage of a team that will probably struggle against a Belichick defense. As long as he can handle the rush of the Rams, he should make big plays in the offense from the rushing standpoint and a few more in the passing. I call 20 plus for Cam this week.
Now, with that being said, if you looked at the last game Cam played, Cam used his legs. He didn't sit in the pocket too long. And if he does this against the Rams, he should be effective because once he gets past the front four, he got a little space to maneuver.
Right.
So
Now,
we'll see.
Cam is no fool, and I'm hoping his coach has been in his ear telling him to repeat moving like he did in this last game, because against this Rams rush, I mean, you got Mr. Don, you got Brockers. I mean, you don't want to stand there in that pocket thinking that you're going to get away from these dudes. There is no really stepping up in the pocket against this rush. You literally got to roll out of that pressure. And if he needs to run, need to run, but definitely buy himself some time so he can hook up with his wide receivers. All right, quick hits, and I'm gonna go a little faster because I know we got long-winded on some of the sections. Deebo Samuel, 49ers against the Redskins. Dang. Against the Washington
Washington
football
Club.
team. And I already said it. I know Ayuk is back, but you still should see enough from Deebo Samuels to have him in your starting lineup. Next, Jefferson Davis, wide receiver Vikings. If you've been watching this boy play, I've been saying Stephon Diggs who this whole season, because this boy since game one has been on fire, and he has become Kirk Cousins' best target. So I think he definitely outduels Antonio Brown. And get this, I also think he'll help Kirk outduel Brady this week. So stay tuned on that one. DK Metcalf, enough said. They playing the Jets. He should eat lunch this week. He should eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner this
Get
week.
full.
Right. Quiet storm. Taysom Hill, quarterback, Saints versus Eagles. People still don't believe, but he will tighten up from that fumble from last week, and he'll keep proving doubters wrong. Enough said there. He's a good one here for this quiet storm because he's just developing and coming alive before our eyes. Aaron Jones, running back Packers. Nothing else to be said there. They playing the Lions. He should be eating pretty well against the Lions defense, as people will be afraid of Mr. Adams and that bad man passing all over the place. So he should be able to get his chunk yardage in there. Hunter Henry, Chargers, tight end. I know their record is horrid, but quietly, Henry has had a good season. He has battled some injuries, but has been a solid pass catcher in this offense. The only problem is he just needs to be targeted more. And once he gets that, then they'll see more of the fruit of his labor while he's out there on the field. So tight end, he's good for 10 to 15 points this week. And I just mentioned, we go on the closers. I just mentioned them, Captain Kirk. Call me whatever, but I think Kirk does it 2 weeks in a row and pulls a rabbit out of the hat for a victory. I just believe that Tom turns the ball over too much or in the dirt, and the opportunities will be there for Kirk to win this game in the fourth. All right, Christian McCaffrey, and I put a misnomer on this. It's an asterisk by this. I say if McCaffrey is back, he will torment that Broncos defense this weekend. This is great news for fantasy owners that have him going into the playoffs. The Broncos are stout on defense, so this will be a test to see what he can do. I think he shines and closes out the Broncos in a close game. Now, notice, for those that come back at me, I said if. If he's on the field, that means he was healthy enough to play. And like I said, McCaffrey only knows how to play one way. That's 150%. So you're going to get everything that he has on that field, which I think will translate to him being a problem for that Broncos defense. And then lastly, for closers, Alex Smith. Welcome to the honors, Alex Smith, for the first time this year. Quarterback, Washington football team versus the 49ers. Call me crazy again. But remember, Alex was 6-2 before he got that horrific leg injury a couple of years ago. And that team was worse than this one that he has now. He has more weapons on this offense and a better scheme. Thank you so much. So San Francisco is not doing too well because of their injuries on defense. They fight well in games, but seem to fizzle out in the fourth. They have weapons, but not enough grit to cover for what is missing. Add another 25 points for Alex Smith if you have him in this closeout win in the desert. I'm happy to be able to say that I think the Washington football team can actually win this week. So drop them. It is time to solidify those playoff rosters. Make wise decisions. If you have questions, holler at your boys here on our Facebook page or YouTube channel because we can assist. So now let's go to sensible picks. Shout out to Sense. couldn't join us tonight. He is serving the Lord. He's doing his choir rehearsal. So, of course, for me, I always say the Lord come before anything else. So I'm gonna go ahead and take care of his sensible picks. So just like he says, yes, yes, yes. Let me get you your for show starts. So, oh, Joe, look who popped up. T.Y. Hilton
That's funny.
versus Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's funny.
Hilton has finally hit his stride, and the last game proves that it's no fluke. He should give the owners another week of double-digit points. We shall see.
Right. Yeah, don't hold your breath on that one.
Right. J.D. McKissick versus San Francisco. As I mentioned earlier, Gibson is sidelined with an injury. Sorry, Big Reg. In light of this, I'm expecting more production out of McKissick, who was Alex Smith's bread and butter against the Steelers. Also, Logan Thomas as well was his bread and butter. Taysom Hill. See, I like apologies because I got on sense for dogging Taysom Hill last week. So he's making good next. He says Taysom Hill versus Philly. He says, okay, I was wrong about Tay-Tay. He ended up beasting against the Falcons, and I won't make the same mistake twice. I say definitely start him, especially against a weak Eagles defense. Sorry,
Yep.
Janine. It's the truth.
Yeah, it is.
Giants defense versus Arizona. After
Chris.
witnessing that thrashing Sunday against the Hawks, I'm now a believer. I can see the G-men, wreaking havoc against Murray and the crew. Well, Karen, that should make you very happy.
Yeah.
All right. And now for the sit-ems. So, nah, son, sit them down. Jared Goff, and I wholeheartedly agree, versus New England. He hasn't been himself the past few games, and I don't see it getting better against a Patriots team who lives for big game moments, especially with a playoff berth on the line. Belichick will be ready. Devontae Parker versus Kansas City. The Kansas City defense is ranked third in fewest points to receivers. Food for thought, y'all. Miles Sanders versus New Orleans. The Saints defense is famous for shutting down the run making and a long day for Philly's run game. I agree.
Yep.
Kyle Rudolph versus Tampa Bay. Not only is he currently dealing with a foot injury, but even if he does end up playing, he won't get the looks that you're hoping for. Yeah, because he's going to be too busy throwing the Thielen and my man Jefferson. And if Irv plays, he'll hit Irv. So it's no need to start him if you have him. All right, so sit him. All right, so that's all we got for the sensible picks. So to close out as customary to get you ready for the game, we're going to discuss who you got. So J3, who do you have in tonight's matchup against the Patriots versus the Rams?
I'm gonna make it real quick. I think the Patriots going to win by 7, and it all depends on the Rams defense if they actually get 7 more points than they do. Goff has a strong arm. He just got to know how to utilize it. He has weapons on both sides of him and in the backfield. So it's going to be a good game, but I think it's going to be no more than 7 points.
Right. I have the Patriots as well. I actually think it'll be a 1-point affair. I think Cam will get his shot again at the end of the game. What was it against the Bills where he fumbled where they were going down? I think he's cleaned up those mistakes. I am still sticking by the fact that play in the middle of the season was due to the fact that he was coming back from COVID, and we don't really know how that affects people because he was playing great early in the season that really had the Patriots rolling. And I don't think all of a sudden the guy just started stinking when he had a formula to make that team really look good. So I got the Patriots tonight. I think as far as a top performer in this game, I don't think it'll be Cam as the top performer. I actually think it'll be Henderson, the running back for the Rams, that will get some chunk yardage and some big plays tonight like he did last week. I think Goff is going to struggle again. I think Belichick will put enough defensive schemes against him to kind of keep him off kilter. I think Stephon Gilmore is back and healthy, so that allows them to play man a lot more than they have been. And I think that cat Nikovic, he's pretty formidable at that linebacker position. So I think they'll get enough of a pass rush on him to keep him, not looking so great. So Yeah, I think this is a big spot for the Patriots because they have to keep up with Buffalo. They got Miami chomping at the bit on their heels. So in order for them to try to get that second spot from the division, I think they really have to keep pace. And it's not beyond the realm of possibility that if Pittsburgh rewrites the ship and handles business against Buffalo this weekend, that the Patriots would be another notch closer to catching them at the top of the division. So
Right.
it's still all in play, y'all. So
Yeah.
Belichick is not going to go out without a fight.
Sounds good.
All right. Okay, those of you who commented, we'll catch up with you on the other side. We are over the hour, so we're past our time. We thank you guys for tuning in. Get your popcorn ready for this game tonight,
Oh
and
yeah.
see you guys next week on Tuesday, to be exact. So God bless you, and thanks for tuning in. Take
See
care.
ya.